Hi, welcome to the Light of Deception. Today I'm going to be talking about education in the public school, education in the Christian school, education in the private school set. This is going to be interesting. So I want you guys to do me a favor and go over to Rumble. So the Light of Deception, the Rumble channel. You can be under Danette Lane or you can be under the Light of Deception. And what I want you to do is go over there and look at the forwards to all this. So the uncensored first part of education. So you'll see two. It's dealing with NAIS and a private school. And then it's going to be dealing with the ACSI. So look at those two. Those are there and they're uncensored for you on Rumble. Also, there's three other ones I'd like you to look at. And it's talking about the global plan as it's talking about the smashing down of Judeo-Christianity for this new age Christianity that is acceptable, and the Bible-believing Judeo-Christianity is being smashed down. So I want you to go ahead and look at that. There's a part 1, part 2, part 3. Part 2 is talking about cryptocurrency, and part 3 is going to be talking about what's going on with our health. So you want to go and look at those. And so really, if you're looking at this one here, this is the part 3 under education. And so here we go. What we're going to start off with is talking about two people here that are taking a pretty good stand for the schools. They have a heart and compassion for the children, and thank God that they do. A lot of people take stands in different areas, but this is their stand. So you're going to be looking at Alex Newman. He's been out there a long time fighting under education and talking about what's going on in the general arena across public schools, Christian schools, and just regular private schools, how they're all blending the same and they're teaching the same curriculum. So you have to be really careful. And there's another one of the people that stand up with him. Her name is Rhonda Thomas. And she is, it says here, is a founder of and president of Atlanta-based Truth in Education. Truth in Education is dedicated to protecting students from questionable education practices that are overtaking our classrooms. She is so right. She's an advocate for the rights of parents to control education and health of their children, giving it back to the parents. Then it says, with Truth in Education, Thomas organization focuses on protecting kids from social emotional learning, critical race theory, or we're going to call this CRT, radical gender identity, and also obscene and inappropriate books that are being accessed through students' filtered database in school media centers. Rhonda believes that when it comes to educating children, control starts at home, and parents should have the final say in what materials and curriculum are being delivered to children, no matter what school they attend. I absolutely agree with her. She also believes that parents, not school systems nor teachers, should make final healthcare decisions about children. Amen to that. So I'm going to let you see a little snapshot of what her and so Rhonda and Alex have put together under education. So here they are.
Hey everybody, Alex Newman here with The New American. Thank you for joining us. We have a very special guest today. You guys know education is close to my heart. It's a real passion of mine because I think it is the critical issue on which all the other issues depend. And so with us today we have Rhonda Thomas. She has been involved for 20 years on the political scene in Georgia. She's been in the pro-family movement. She has been lobbying. She's been working with legislators to try to get some of this critical race theory and social emotional learning and all sorts of stuff out of the school system. She is also the president of Truth in Education, an organization founded to try to fix the education system and ensure that our children are not brainwashed, if you will, with the progressive worldview and turned away from their faith and their morals and the views of their parents. Rhonda, thank you for being with us, and tell us, how did you get involved in education? Why do you see this as so important?
Thank you, Alex. I got involved in education quite a few years ago, not only through the political scene, but through being an advocate for parents when they needed that in the school system. And then the past 4 years, I've been involved in educating legislators and parents on the comprehensive sex ed that's in our schools, the critical race theory once it came on the scene, and also the social emotional learning. So I felt really passionate about it. I thought God called me to this. I had so many parents coming and very concerned. So we've been very involved in educating them, helping them work with their school boards, finding school board members. We're just doing everything we can to really assist these parents because they're in a very difficult situation. And we're seeing their children propagandized through all this. And it really is a Marxist agenda. Not only is the critical race theory Marxism, but the comprehensive sex ed is too, because Marxism is all about separation of family, breaking down the country, and what is key to our country? It's our family. So they're using this agenda along with critical race theory and social emotional learning to really destroy our family and destroy the country, to rebuild it back into what they want it to be. And if we didn't know God was in control, we would say that they're winning when we're looking at all that's happening within our schools. But we know they're not. So we need to stand up against this. We need to continue to work with our lawmakers to pass legislation. There's something in Georgia, Alex, that I think might surprise you. Did you know if you gave my child a piece of pornography that you would be put in jail? Yet our children can go in their media centers at school, go through their filtered database, and access pornography, access soft porn, hard porn, torture sex, BDSM, kink, all kinds of information that should never touch their hands. I actually went to the GBI in Georgia and was told that pornography is legal in Georgia, and as long as the teacher is not leading them there, there's nothing they can do about it. Well, our taxpayers' dollars should not be paying for that. Would you agree? And also,
no question about it.
There are 43 states that our school systems are exempt from the obscenity law. So that is really harming us also. It's making it very difficult to get a bill passed. We have so many, educrats have lots of money and lots of power. So the American Library Association, all different organizations are coming against it. So every time our bill goes forward, it gets watered down. And so therefore, we haven't been able to accomplish that yet. So we're working on legislation to close that loophole to protect our children. And we're trying to actually, again, educate parents and legislators on what's happening within our schools. So this whole agenda, our children are under attack from every area, and we know the ultimate goal is control. So social emotional learning is huge. They are really working hard at breaking down our children's values, their attitudes, anything that they can do to be able to remold their minds into what they want them to be. In fact, I think using the word unlearned is a big thing. They really want to unlearn everything that our children have been taught so that they can then teach them the left propaganda, the leftist agenda. So no one loves our children like we do, Alex, and we have got to stand up. We cannot sit back on this one. We're going to lose if we do. And so I'm trying to build a fire. A lot of people are, not just my group, many groups are involved. We know that. You're involved. So we so appreciate your opening up your airways and that you have such a heart for this, for education. So,
well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing and all that you're doing, Rhonda. So let's talk about the sex education component, because I think there's still this kind of naivete out there. Parents might have gone to school in the 70s and maybe it wasn't, great. Maybe there was some raunchy stuff, but don't kids need to learn how to put on condoms and birth controls and things like that? What's the problem with sex education? How is that going to transform our children's attitudes? How is that going to undermine the family?
Well, actually, what it's going to do, Alex, is it's actually removing their inhibitions, but so they're coming very comfortable with it. And because of that, one of the biggest problems we have in this country is sex trafficking. It, I believe, ranks above drug trafficking at the money that it makes. We are grooming our children for sex trafficking and for pedophilia. We are relaxing any type of, relaxing their inhibitions. We're teaching them in second grade how to have oral sex, teaching them in kindergarten that you're not born a boy or a girl. It's how you feel, what you think. So they're conditioning them, they're grooming them. And so we know from Alfred Kinsey, right, that all this started years ago with all the research that he did. And that's how we've ended up where we are today. And he had a lot of control over changing our laws when it came to criminality against sex, like rape and all kinds of things. So we are seeing the ages drop, right? In California, you can have sex with anyone as long as there's no more than 10 years apart. So there are a lot of laws being placed. In fact, I believe there is actually an agenda to put the letter P at the end of LGBTQT. That is the next agenda. So we have got to stop this now. We have got to protect our children from this. And I believe because of that, I had a grandmother that came up to me the other day and said her grandchildren are in middle school and won't have anything to do with her because they call her homophobic. So we are really brainwashing our children in a way that is going to definitely divide the country. And Marxism has been after this for a long time. And so the critical race theory goes right along with all of this because that's part of their agenda. And this all started with the UN through UNESCO. Our national sexuality standards are not even our standards. They were written by UNESCO, but yet all our schools have adopted them. So we need to be educated, we need to be aware, and we need to stand up, and we need to fight against this for our children.
Okay, that should tell you a whole lot. So I almost thought about just putting this on Rumble too, so we'll see how this does. There might be some areas here that when I'm talking about it, I have to use initials instead of saying the whole thing. So we might be even looking at saying RGI, so under radical gender identity. So we'll have to see if that's going to go through. And then critical race areas, CRT. So we'll see how that goes. Also, a little bit about Alex Newman. Alex Newman serves as the president of Liberty Seminole Media Incorporated. He has written for a wide array of publications in the United States and abroad. He currently serves as the contributor to Epoch Times, a correspondent for the Law Enforcement Intelligence, Brief Foreign Correspondence, and a senior editor for the New American Magazine, a writer for WorldNet Daily, and an education writer for Freedom Project Media. So these guys really know what they're talking about. So he has been out there for a long time. There is going to be a website. I'm going to leave it below so you can see their website. So Truth in Education, you'll have their website below. You'll see the website for where I took the clip from the video. That will be, it says Exposing the Lies in Government Schools with Rhonda Thomas. So that'll be there for you as well. I will give you access to be able to find, obviously Alex Newman is working with Rhonda at Truth in Education, but there's other places that you can find him as well. So I'll add those links below. Plus, I'm going to add the links to those teachings I was telling you about what's, about the global agenda and the church and overthrowing the church. So the ones that I had in part 1, part 2, part 3, talking about, first of them talking about the church, the collapse of the Judeo-Christian church and a rise of this new age worldly church. And then secondary, we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency. That's part 2. So part 3 is going to be talking about your health. And then I'm going to put the one out for NAIS, the private school sect. And then we're going to be looking at Christian, the Association of Christian Schools. So ACSI will be there. International will be there for you too. And then this one should be able to come up on YouTube. We'll have to see how it goes. So please go to Rumble and subscribe to the channel there on Rumble so you get the uncensored videos that I cannot put up on this channel here. Okay, so until next time, be thinking about your children and your children's children, right? If you're grandparents, if you're thinking about having children, who has the right to tell your children what to put their eyes on, what to be listening to, what to be learning in schools? Who has the right to educate your children under things that should be taught at home? This is not talking about writing, reading, and mathematics. They're talking about things that are outside of what a school and a school teacher should be teaching your children. There's a lot of these things that are going on right now that you would be absolutely shocked at very young ages. So take a look on Rumble and be educated in this area so you can protect your children and even your community, and spread the news far and wide so more people will know to be careful where you put your children, and be double checking even the private and the Christian schools. Until next time, I hope this helps you. Bye-bye.